You've been searching for the best way to generate passive income in your life and heard that real estate is a great way to do it. But you're tired of all the so-called gurus who are all talk and no substance. Get ready to celebrate because Kevin Buck has spent 14 years successfully making it happen. This is the Real Estate Investing for Cash Flow podcast. Now, here's Kevin Buck.
Hey guys, Kevin Bupp here, and I want to welcome you to another episode of the Real Estate Investing for Cash Flow podcast. Our mission is to help you build and maintain massive amounts of cash flow through income-producing real estate investments. Our guest for this week's show is car wash investment expert Chuck Howard. Now, Chuck has been in the car wash business for more than 47 years. Along with his 3 children, he is the owner, president, and CEO of Autobell Car Wash, Inc., which was founded in Charlotte, North Carolina in 1969. With 76 full-service locations in North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, Georgia, and Maryland, Autobell is one of the largest conveyorized car wash chains in the United States. So, to simply put it, guys, Chuck has been involved in just about every aspect of the car wash industry and is one of the leading experts in this space. And for those of you who tune into the show on a regular basis, you'll know that I love niche asset classes, and car washes are quickly becoming one of my favorites. Chuck will be the 3rd car wash expert that we've had on the show, but his vast experience and sheer time in the business trumps that of all the other guests. Now, that doesn't discount the expertise that the other guests brought to the equation, but Chuck has been in this business essentially since he was a child, and this family business has grown by leaps and bounds over the 49 plus years that he's been doing it. So I'm excited to get onto the show with Chuck, but before we do, here's a brief word from our show sponsor, Sunrise Capital Investors. Hey guys, Kevin Bupp here with Sunrise Capital Investors. As you are hopefully already well aware if you've been a listener for any period of time, my goal has always been to provide you with as much value as I possibly can through my 2 podcasts, Real Estate Investing for Cash Flow and the Mobile Home Park Investing podcast. As our audience continues to grow, literally, we've been downloaded millions of times by folks in over 125 countries. I've had thousands of people reach out looking to get involved in our niche. And that's the phenomenal niche of mobile home park investing. For those that don't know, I've been a full-time real estate investor for nearly 20 years now, and I've personally invested in and have owned apartment complexes, various commercial properties, hundreds of single-family rentals, and I've interviewed some of the most successful investors in just about every other asset class, and I've arrived at this one very simple conclusion. Mobile home parks are hands down the best investment I've found to date. Why? They provide investors with the best risk-adjusted returns out of any other real estate sector that I've seen. Investing in real estate can get complicated, and I really want to simplify this process for you. If you're someone who wants to diversify away from the uncertainty of Wall Street and allocate a percentage of your real estate portfolio to mobile home parks, but maybe you don't have the time nor the inclination to personally locate good deals yourself, then our team will do it for you. At Sunrise Capital Investors, our team specializes in the acquisitions and management of undervalued and highly profitable mobile home parks. And we are now providing accredited investors with an opportunity to participate directly alongside our team in our up-and-coming deals. And let me say this, I believe that we are hands down the best in our space at sourcing highly profitable off-market deals. That's really what makes us unique in this niche and as investment managers. As stewards of your capital, we truly are aligned with our investors. We've structured our investment fund so that we as a company are incentivized in the same way the investor is, which is through the performance of the investment itself. In addition, we want to make sure that we not only make money for our investors, but that they understand how it's being made. That's why we provide our accredited partners with a private monthly podcast that walks them through the detailed updates on how their investment is performing. And we're very transparent, providing you with the good, the bad, and the ugly at times. And so if you'd like to learn more about the partnership opportunities with our team here at Sunrise, please go visit sunrisecapitalinvestors.com and click on the investors link to get signed up. It's absolutely free and you'll get placed on the priority list of when new opportunities come along. Also, feel free to call us at 833-CASH-FLOW without the O. Again, that's 833-CASH-FLOW without the O. And one of our investor relations team members will help you schedule an appointment to speak with one of our managing principals. If you have questions, go ahead and schedule a call and let's get on the phone and talk. And with that, guys, I like to leave with one last thought. From the time that I wake up in the morning till the time that I lay my head down the rest of the evening, my number one priority with everything I do, whether it be recording this podcast, working for our investors, helping each of you reach your investment goals, to providing a great experience to each of our residents who reside in our communities, is to add huge amounts of value to everyone that I come in contact with. Now, with that being said, I look forward to the opportunity of bringing value to you through Sunrise and through this podcast. Thank you for your time. Now, let's go ahead and get back to the show. All right, guys, I'd like to welcome Chuck Howard to the show. Chuck, so I gave you a little bit of an introduction there, but I'm sure that doesn't even scratch the surface of your background. And so maybe if you would just take a few minutes and tell our listeners a little bit more about yourself, your background, and how you and your family got into the car wash business.
Okay, well, I'll have to take you back to 1969 because that's when our company was founded by my father, Charles Howard Sr., who's no longer with us, unfortunately. But at the time, I was a sophomore in college and trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And my dad was very energetic, very mechanically minded, and very focused and determined, and decided that he wanted to get in the car wash business after being dismissed from a job in an industrial plant where he had been assistant superintendent for about 20 years. I guess those things happen. A bigger company came in, brought their own people, and no longer needed him, so suddenly he needed something to do. And since car wash was in the late 60s, not really new, but there were few full-service car washes around. The oil companies had been through a phase of in-bay automatics that didn't perform very well and had really shut down a lot of them. And so there appeared to be a void in the marketplace that my dad took advantage of. And so he came up with kind of a mixture between exterior wash and what would eventually be full service. In fact, our first 3 car washes were exterior only. And his idea was to have an exterior pay online, customer stay in the car, self-vacuum, what we call express exterior today, although we didn't call it that back then. The difference was we had a gasoline tie-in, which all went away in the mid-'70s, and so we had to change our strategy a little bit, our model, if you will. And so eventually we morphed into full service, very much like you see today, but we kept some elements of the exterior, such as pay online, assembly line process. My dad was very big into automation, and I think that's what drew him to the car wash, because it is an automated assembly line type process. And so after those first few years of struggling and trying to make ends meet, we began to see a little cash flow and got to the point that we could build a new location maybe every year and not stretch the budget too much. And so that's what we did. And here we are 49 years later with 80 locations and soon to be 81. We're going to sign the papers today for number 81.
Oh, fantastic. Congratulations. That's a lot of growth. And that's incredibly exciting as well. And those 81 locations, how many states is that spread across, Chuck?
We're in 5 states right now, both Carolinas, Virginia, Maryland, and Georgia.
Got it. Okay.
So it's very much a regional operation.
Okay. I want to back up a little bit back to when your father was first in the planning stages. Like, he was having the visions of this car wash or this operation. I want to speak a little bit to that, and from what you know of that story, that first one being built, and kind of this dream of him building this car wash. How did he go about learning that process? I mean, as far as, was there a class he took on how to build a car wash, or was it, you said he was a pretty handy guy and kind of a do-it-all type. And so was it just a matter of sketching out on a piece of paper and starting from scratch and building it up, or did he have a little bit of guidance along the way? In
his days in the industrial plant, he handled all of the mechanics of the facility. He earned a unlimited electrical contractor's license. He was on weekends. He was busy building room additions for people. He built the house that I grew up in. So he knew how to build things. He knew how to do electrical. He had friends in the contracting business. And in the interim between his job at the industrial plant and starting the car wash, he was involved in a company that was selling equipment and chemicals primarily to the truck washing industry. So he got a little bit of taste of washing vehicles, and through that, I think connected with the trade shows, trade associations, and he was a tremendous reader. He read everything he'd get his hands on. And so with that knowledge and with the ability to self-perform many of the tasks of building a new facility, he was off and running.
Okay. I think that's one of the unique things about this industry that isn't too common in the other, real estate or business industries out there, in that the suppliers or distributors, for the most part, are also the industry consultants. Isn't that correct, Chuck?
Pretty much. And a lot of them are wash operators who have expanded their business into some sort of distribution or service business, so that they not only take care of their own facilities, but they offer their services, be it consulting or equipment sales or service, to other operators in the area. Very common.
Got it. So I know, in real estate in general, we always talk about location. Can you speak a little bit to, what you have found over the years is the ingredients that makes a stellar location for a new car wash development?
Well, unfortunately, all the primo sites are already taken by drugstores or some other big name that grabs all the corners and everything. So it's rare to find a corner, although every once in a while you do. But basically, we would look for the same thing that maybe a fast food would look for, maybe with the exception of interstate, because we think that our business primarily comes from the neighborhood around the car wash, not so much from the from transient folks. But population, income, good ingress, egress, of course, visibility. So all those things that any business will be looking for. I will say that it's sort of an accepted ideal in the industry to be on the going home side. There's kind of a perception that people are more likely to wash their car on the way home than on the way to.
Okay.
Although our first location was definitely on the breakfast side.
So as long as you're across the street from a Dunkin' Donuts, you should be in the right spot. Exactly. As far as a radius of when you guys are looking at the population and such of that local neighborhood that you're going to be serving, what kind of radius do you draw? I mean, have you done some studies to determine distance that most residents will travel, or like maximum distance that they'll travel to get to your car wash facility?
It all depends on the area. For example, a big metropolitan area like Atlanta, people aren't going to travel very far for goods and services that they need. They tend to live close to their work and have everything they need because traffic is so heavy. So in that situation, you would want to be probably no more than 5 or 6 minutes from your customers. If you get out in smaller towns, I think people are willing to drive farther. And you might look at a radius if there are no natural barriers like a river or something like that would separate you from customers. But you might look at a 3-mile radius, or in some cases even farther out. And,
okay.
I think you'd like to probably 40, 50, 60,000 people in that whatever area you're measuring.
Okay. As far as absorption of how many car washes a market can handle, is there a certain metric that you guys use within the industry as far as, like, maybe it's not population, but maybe it's total number of cars in a certain metro area can, essentially 5 car washes, right? Can absorb that number of cars? Or is there a metric like that you guys go by, just as a general rule of thumb?
Well, actually, That's a hard question because, again, it depends on the area, the type of car washes that are in the area, because now we have express exteriors and full serves, and we still have self-serves and in-bay automatics. So I think you take all of that into consideration. But if I had to throw a number out as just a wild guess, I would say maybe one car wash for every 40,000 people or so with reasonably good incomes, at least for the type of wash we have. Now, some of the other self-serves and things like that might use a different number.
And what is the average cost of a wash? I mean, most of your facilities are full service, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And what is the average of the basic? I'm sure there's different levels, different tiers. What is the basic full service wash inside and outside? What does that run?
About $17 right now for the basic inside and out, where we take charge of the car, we vacuum, we run it through the wash, customer waits inside, and we finish the car at the exit with a hand finish inside, wipe down the outside. Mm-hmm. And then anything else that the customer would request if we miss something.
Okay, got it. Now, I know there's other revenue streams that exist in this space, and it really depends on what type of wash you have, whether it's a full service or express exterior, or there's other, just the self-service as well. I know that there's a car wash down the road from my office here. It's an express exterior, which honestly, up until about 6 months ago, I wasn't familiar with that concept. I drive by it all the time, but I never really paid attention to it. And so it was very new to me to actually go through that process, kind of vacuum the car myself and then run through an Autobell type system. And I have two guys at the end to kind of wipe it down, and much better than a fully automatic of the, what I can recall from 15 years ago when I've used them before, like a fully automatic drive through. And there was never really overly satisfied with the quality of the wash of that. But in this situation, I'm very impressed by how, the advancements that have been made. But I guess what I'm getting at is that express exterior down the road, one of the options when I pull up to the kiosk is it tries to sell me onto a membership type program, like an unlimited monthly car wash club. I know that's obviously one source of revenue, but are there other sources of revenue streams other than just the wash itself and like a unlimited car wash club that exist in this space?
Well, in the industry, yes, some car washes have all sorts of vending machines. They may vend towels, they may vend cleaning products. When you get into the full serve, they may have gift shops or greeting cards or all sorts of things that they sell in their lobby to offset some of the cost of having a cashier in there. Autobell's a little different because we came from the express exterior world, and we believe that people don't come to spend a lot of time, but they want the car detailed inside and out. So our goal is to get people through the process, curb to curb. That means from the time you turn off the street till the time you turn back on in less than 15 minutes. And so we don't expect our customers to spend a lot of time in our lobbies, and therefore we don't have extra merchandise or things like that. And we also focus very heavily on labor control. The person who would normally be in the lobby collecting money is out front wiping down cars. As it should be. So the express exterior that you were describing is a self-service operation. You self-pay, load yourself onto the conveyor. Some of those even have detail brushes where you can prep your car yourself. Some do, some don't. Most do not have wipe down at the end because of labor concerns, but sounds like there's a competitive situation in your case where the operator feels like he needs to do that. And then, of course, any of the interior cleaning is self-performed, vacuuming or any dusting or anything you want to do. And some have vending machines. I would say most do not, because they want people to use the free vacuum to use it and move on. Because their whole thing is to run a high volume, and they don't want somebody tying up a vacuum for a long time. So the next car can't get in.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, absolutely. And as far as the financing side of the business, I mean, for someone that has an interest in purchasing an existing car wash or developing from the ground up, what type of financing is available out there nowadays, other than just like local bank financing? I mean, there are other types of loans out there specifically for this space?
I would say for a startup, you're probably going to be looking at bank financing, and you're
Okay.
probably going to have a sizable equity position, 25, 30, or even 40%, to make the lender comfortable that you can be successful, being that you're inexperienced. Now, if it's your second or third location, there's some options such as SBA, Small Business Administration. You might be able to attract so-called angel investor, someone who just likes to invest in local businesses. Maybe they know you personally, maybe they don't, but there are folks out there who will invest in many businesses, and if their average is anywhere near 50%, they're happy.
Right.
And, those guys are out there. I will say when we started, although it was 49 years ago, we leased the property, so that was a land lease. We leased the equipment from an equipment leasing company. I think we borrowed $80,000 from a bank because we could self-perform many of the construction functions and install our own equipment and all that. So we got into that first one pretty low, even though it was 49 years ago. It was still a pretty low number for the day, and that gave us the opportunity to grow our cash flow and expand the operation.
Okay. And so that very first location, you mentioned it was a land lease. Is that still a common practice for Autobell today? I mean, do you have other locations that are on a land lease type format?
We do. I would say that we prefer to purchase the real estate if we can, but there are situations where if you want to be on a site, for example, an out parcel of a shopping center or something like that, that it's just not available for purchase. Leasing is the only option. So I think we have a fair balance. We have a number of locations on our balance sheet that we own the real estate. Of course, that's going up in value. But then we have a number that are on leased land. We try to get long leases. Currently, we try to get 30 to 40 years total term, with maybe a shorter term with options built in. So we know we can be there long enough to pay off the construction and the equipment and have a few years of good profits before relocating.
What is the typical life expectancy? Like when you guys build a new location, the equipment that you're putting in there, what is the typical life expectancy of that equipment before you are looking to do like a full revamp? I mean, is that point in time, does that come, or is it just a matter of upgrades as time moves forward? Or is there ever a point where you shut down an entire facility and completely revamp it based on newer technologies, newer systems and processes?
Well, we do look at what's new in the marketplace. The equipment itself is very rugged. Most today is made out of stainless steel. Some is aluminum. So the frames and the structural parts are very durable and basically can last as long as you want to operate them. The expendable parts, motors, bearings, drives, things like that wear out in normal course of things, and just have to decide if that maintenance cost gets too much, then you might want to start over. But occasionally we do, but we really hate to shut a place down because total refitting of a location would mean at least a week, but probably a couple of weeks of downtime, and we just hate to lose that downtime. So typically we'll replace components, and we can do that overnight. We can put in a new conveyor overnight. We can put in a new brush package, and the car wash stays in operation.
Okay. Is there an opportunity in buying pre-existing car washes that are in some form of distress, or maybe there's not being run correctly from an operational standpoint? Is that part of your business model as well, or are you strictly ground up development?
Yes, we buy existing car washes. We have a couple of paths we take there. Sometimes they are distressed and the owner just wants out. Sometimes they're okay, but the owner's just ready to retire, and we'll provide an exit strategy for them. In some cases, they are car washes that our sister company, Halco, was involved in originally. We just bought one a few weeks ago in Burlington that our sister company, Halco, built for a gentleman about 20 years ago. And it was a good location, doing good business, and he was just ready to retire. And so he approached us, and we bought it back. We have about 30 or so locations that are in that category. Some of them are former Halco customers. Some of them are of some other design. But when we take one over, we convert it to our operating system and, of course, change the colors and the signage so that it looks and feels like an Autobell. We also have converted retail stores. We're getting ready to close on one today that's actually a bank that didn't do too well. The building is situated on the property exactly where we need it, so we're going to turn that bank building into a car wash.
Really? Wow. That's
converted a Dollar General store in Georgia. We converted a auto dealership in Bel Air, Maryland. And the advantage there is that it's easier to get permits. Stormwater is not as much of an issue because they already have paved lots and they're already dealing with stormwater. And the big thing is they already have water and sewer. In some cases, that can be a huge fee to connect a new facility.
So, like in these two examples you just gave, the Dollar General and also the bank that you just purchased, will you essentially retrofit or, I guess remodel the existing structure there? You'll actually utilize that existing structure and just either add on what's needed, or are you actually going to go in and level what's there and then, start fresh?
The times that we've done it, we've used existing structure.
Wow. Huh.
And a lot of times it's a building that is very similar in square footage to what we would need anyway.
Okay.
Now, we may tear out all the interior walls as long as the supporting walls, outside walls, are carrying the load of the roof. But, in the case of the Dollar General, we had to get a special exception from the city for permitting, and it was very easy to explain to them that this closed up, boarded up store would be the same building, look just like it looks now, it just have a car wash in it. And so they granted us the permit. We didn't change the building.
Wow. I'd love to see like the bank building. I'd love to see a before and after. I think that'd be really cool. I don't think anyone listening to the show can probably envision going from a bank facility that they're used to going and withdrawing or depositing money to put up to the same location and a couple months later getting their car washed and detailed. I love it.
Yeah, it's a process, and you do have to deal with bank vaults that are heavily concreted and reinforced steel, but we'll figure out how to do that.
Okay. So you've been doing this now for a number of years, Chuck. And, I know that your father started the company, but I mean, you were alongside him, location number? Well, I mean, you helped him build that kind of the first one. I mean, while you're still in school. And so you've been part of the family business the entire time.
I have.
Yeah. So if you could go back, knowing what you know today, you've seen many different changes happening within the industry. And this doesn't even have to be an industry specific answer. But if you can go back into year one of when you were just getting started in this business and knowing what you know today, what kind of advice would you give yourself back then?
Well, I've always been very conservative and cautious about taking that next step. I probably could have taken a little more risk because I've learned over the years that business is about risk, and you get paid for those risks, for taking those risks. And so probably could have been a little more adventurous, not crazy, not careless, but probably picked up on some opportunities that I let go by.
Okay. Yeah, I know that we had spoke before about this, and you're really in tune with your employees and growing the organization, not just from not really at all from a monetary gain standpoint, but more so to provide more opportunities for your employees, to provide opportunities for them to grow up inside the organization, which I thought was really cool. And so I'd love to ask if you wouldn't mind sharing maybe just some insights from your perspective as far as what you feel are some of the secrets of success of growing such a thriving company over these last 49 years. I know you have over, I think there maybe a few hundred employees overall throughout your 80 different locations and your corporate office. And it seems like you've got many employees, again, after speaking to you last time, that have kind of worked their way up through the ranks, that have stuck around. They maybe started as an attendant at one of your car washes and now work at your corporate location, your corporate office, which I think is so cool, to kind of grow the organization from within. So you maybe speak to some of the aspects of what you find to be the successful components of building such a thriving organization.
That's true. However, we have about 3,500 employees now.
Oh, gosh.
Including part-time. Now, we have a lot of part-time people because 75% of our employees are students. And that could be anywhere from high school students to college to even some graduate students. So that's very important to us. We've always been intent on changing the image of the car wash. And I'm not sure that we've completely succeeded. I think there's still work to do there because when we go into an area where we're not known, the same things come up. Oh, you have surly employees. Your employees are unruly. They do bad things. And that's not us at all. We have very strict hiring standards. We drug test every employee. We have a random drug testing. We have strict uniform policies. And as a result of that, we get the best kids in the neighborhood to work for us. And, I think they encourage their friends to come, and the parents recognize that, so they send their kids to work for us. So I think the thing is, we have an internal slogan here that goes, brighten the world by helping others shine. And I think that is our mission, basically.
I love that.
We help our employees shine. We help our customers shine. We help our communities. And so that's kind of been our goal over these years, to just make things better for everyone around us.
I'm assuming that you guys probably have a lot of active involvement in the surrounding communities. I mean, through your business and through Autobell. Is that a fair statement to make? We do. We contribute to a number of charities, but our biggest fundraiser is our charity car wash program. We have a program where not-for-profit groups can sell our gift cards and keep fully half of the money. Wow.
And they have no upfront costs. They have no inventory. Any tickets they don't sell, they return. Some will pre-sell and not even get the tickets until they've pre-sold them. And this past year, I think we were pushing on $750,000 that was raised by nonprofit groups. That's not the money we kept. That's the money they kept.
Wow.
And that's
across
amazing. It's very popular, and it's a great way to help the community. I'm sure every business gets calls every day from somebody wanting you to put an ad in their program or give them $50 for this or whatever. And our answer is our charity car wash program. You can raise much more money that way than with any kind of donut sale or candy sale or Saturday wash. Much more money that way. And so we have many people that participate.
That's absolutely fantastic. Wow, that's a very successful program. I mean, that's a no-brainer for a charity to jump on board with. And as far as a consumer, I mean, if you got a car, it needs to be washed at some point, hopefully. And so, allowing them to keep half that, that profit, I mean, for their charity, that's wonderful, Chuck. So good for you guys. You shared a lot of great information with us here today, Chuck. And what I'd like to ask that you do is, this is what I call the Golden Nugget segment of the show. We're going to kind of wrap things up after this. And if you had one final golden nugget of advice or wisdom that you could leave with our listeners that may inspire and motivate them as they progress in their real estate investing or business career, what would that one last final golden nugget be?
stay focused, work hard, decide what you want, realize that you may have to give something up to get that goal, and work hard. Now, that's paraphrased from someone else years ago, a fellow by the name of Ross Perot, but it struck a note with me, and I think it's very true today.
Yeah. I mean, pure grit and just persistence, I mean, typically will outweigh any of the overeducated folks out there that just they're solely relying on like an education or a degree to get them to where they think they need to be or want to be in this world. And so I really am a firm believer in just working harder than the next person. And typically you'll find that those that follow that motto will far exceed those that are relying on a more formalized education or, think that they're smarter type perception will. So no, I think that's great advice, Chuck. I really appreciate you coming to the show. And for those that have an interest in learning more about Chuck and his company, they can go visit his website. It's autobell.com. Again, that's autobell.com. And Chuck, that's all we have for today, my friend. I really appreciate you coming and joining us and sharing information about your company. And this is a family business. You've been a part of it since a young age, and you've grown it through the ranks. And you guys are doing some incredible things with local charitable organizations and everything to sound amazing. And again, appreciate you having on the show. And you have a wonderful week, my friend.
You're quite welcome, and thank you, Kevin. I was glad to be here.
Congratulations! Now you've got more of the best tricks of the trade in building massive amounts of passive income from real estate. For more amazing resources, visit realestateinvestingforcashflow.com, and we'll see you next Monday morning.